Don't worry about it.
WrestleMania week. We are here giving you a WrestleMania preview and predictions for what a Dazzle is dubbing the blackest WrestleMania of all time. Let's get into it. This is WrstlXtra.
Yo, people, this is your boy A Dazzle, and this is WrstlXtra. We are back. Yes. I was gone for a week or two. I think it was a week last week. Yeah. Been quiet, busy. Easter weekend, Easter time. So it always gets busy for me. So, I had to take a step back, let everyone else do their thing. Obviously, Mex has been a busy guy, as always, keeping the ship afloat. Just in time to pull up to Tampa Bay for WrestleMania. Come on. This is it, man. It's WrestleMania 37. It's WrestleMania week. Woo. You know what's crazy, actually? I think I worked out if we were able to stay completely consistent with this show since we started every single week, we actually would be on episode 37. This is actually episode 33, I believe. 33, yeah, I think we would actually be on episode 37. The stars just didn't align for us with that one. But whatever. We're here. As Mex said, listen, this is definitely looking like the blackest WrestleMania of all time. I'm certain of it, because even down to not even just the number of people who are on the card, but even down to the magnitude of the matches.
Yeah.
I think for me, this is most definitely the blackest WrestleMania. We've got Bobby Lashley as the world champion. We've got Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks going through for the SmackDown Women's Championship. We've got Big E and Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship. We've got the New Day holding the Raw Tag Team Championships against AJ Styles and the big Nigerian Omos. Bro, this is like, have I missed out anyone? I don't know, but this is literally the blackest WrestleMania ever, for sure. Yeah.
We've got
no doubt
of them in the Andre Battle Royal, although that's on Friday night on SmackDown. You're right. This is a really big, pool full of representation, if you like.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, we've got Titus O'Neil, who is also hosting or co-hosting with the other guy, Terry. So it's major. It's crazy. Before we get into that WrestleMania talk and the predictions, I hate doing predictions, but let's do it. Before we get there, here's a little quick story for you lot. So with my busyness last week, I messaged Mex on Monday afternoon. I was like, mate, I'm tired, man. I've got so much to do. There's too much going on. Can't do the show next week. And I said, you know what? And to be fair, we'll probably end up talking about the same thing we did last week anyway, with Sasha Banks and Bianca and Bobby Lashley being scared of Drew for some reason. Big E and, Apollo, the New Day, like nothing's really changed. Lo and behold, I wake up on Tuesday morning and see Bobby Lashley just kicking it out of Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. I'm like, all right, there's just a little blip in the little system. And, we've seen Shelton and Cedric have an argument before, whatever. Then the confirmation came. The Hurt Business is no more, or the quartet of the Hurt Business is no more. So there's still the Hurt Business, but as MVP confirmed about a couple of days later, that the Hurt Business is still there. They've just downsized. Who makes these decisions, mate?
WWE.
Vince. Yeah. So it was out there. It was put out there that Vince McMahon was the one who made the decision. I believe it was like one of those last minute decisions that he does. And, everyone was very vocal. So MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton, Cedric, and I believe a few more than just those four within the group. have been very vocal about how upset and how it doesn't make any sense. But Vince, being the man in charge, no one can't tell him anything when he's got his decisions to make. Here we are, Bobby Lashley and MVP, just those two. And you know what? It works. But the unfortunate part is it's at the detriment of Shelton and Cedric, and also of us, the black fans, who finally had this near perfect group of black wrestlers as a faction, controlling everything. Bobby as the world champion, Cedric and Shelton as the Raw Tag Team Champions. I mean, the fall. I guess the fall started when Shelton and Cedric lost the Tag Team Championships literally out of nowhere. Yeah. Before Mania, not at Mania, would have been fine. I would have been happy with that, not a problem. But for it to happen out of nowhere, and yeah, it was to another black team in terms of the New Day, which is great. 11 Tag Team Championships, setting records, breaking records, smashing records, all that good stuff. But it came from nothing. Yeah. So then to rub salt and sulfuric acid and every other kind of, disgraceful thing you can do to us in our wounds, you break up the Hurt Business. I'm still trying to find where it makes sense and where it adds to the story, even. Because if we added to the story, maybe I'd find a little bit of comfort in it, but I'm saying no more.
I mean, this is just goes back to WWE's short-term booking, in terms of planning their booking.
Right.
Even if they gave Bobby Lashley the WWE Championship as early as Royal Rumble, let's say, this at least would have had more time to breathe, right?
Right.
Bobby Lashley has been champion for the best part of what?
4 weeks?
Yeah. Well, it'll be about 5 weeks by the time he loses it. Unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah. So the thing is, WWE have created something brilliant in the Hurt Business. They've elevated a star in Cedric Alexander. They've kind of regalvanized the star in Shelton Benjamin. And they have seen that these guys are becoming too cool. And we need this crowd to cheer Drew at WrestleMania, because despite all of you lot wanting Bobby Lashley to retain at WrestleMania, and let's be honest, they know Bobby Lashley looks pretty awesome with that belt. They dubbed him Almighty WWE Champion, which I thought was a bloody brilliant name.
Right.
The plan is to still make Drew win this championship for the third time in 13 months at WrestleMania, because he is the face of the company. Well, Roman is the face, but he's a heel right now. So this is the baby face of the company.
Right.
He can't go into WrestleMania with a cool looking Bobby Lashley with a cool looking faction. No chance. Who will they cheer? They might boo Drew McIntyre. So we need need to break these guys apart. We need to make Bobby Lashley look like an absolute, insert whatever word you want there, so that by the time he reaches Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, there is a clear dynamic between who is the face, who is the heel, and everyone is behind Drew McIntyre. It is one of the best things on Raw, Hurt Business, in the last couple of months. 100%.
Oh, for sure. Without
cool. But it's far too cool. It's far too cool, and we can't have something cool going up against the guy that we want to push. Heaven forbid, everyone is split and everyone wants Bobby Lashley and some people want Drew McIntyre. We don't want any confusion. This is the bad guy. This is the good guy. And this is the way we have to do it, unfortunately. Break up the Hurt Business to make that abundantly clear. Not the best booking. Again, if they had more time, they could have told this over a longer period. They could still make the Hurt Business be bad guys. They could have put the whole Hurt Business in there against Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre basically overcomes 4 men at WrestleMania, and then Hurt Business disband, because with all their power, they couldn't have they didn't get one over Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
There's plenty ways they could have done this, but it's just WWE. We got to stick to the code. We need a clear face and a clear heel dynamic going into Mania, and that's that.
It's absolute madness. Like, for me, just based on the booking, you're saying, saying about the faction being too cool, that would actually work in Drew's favor in terms of him then overcoming this uber cool faction. But yeah, I guess the logic, which is WWE logic, which is not necessarily logic, but we have to think WWE logic, is that you do get the possible dynamic of Lashley and the Hurt Business walking in and then being cheered as much as they are loved by everyone. And it's not just, it really isn't actually just black fans that are upset by it. That's been the weird thing for me. That's been the crazy thing for me. It's not just being black fans. It's literally just fans in general.
Yep.
And one of the biggest things that I saw as well was that even Batista, the former WWE champion, he was vocal on Twitter as well. Even Dave, future Hall of Famer, even he was like, "What is this? Why would you do that?"
Did you see Skillet's post?
I completely missed that. No.
So once it happened, I think Skillet must have been up watching Raw live, madman, and then he must have messaged MVP, and and Skillet basically said, "Yeah, I'm gutted," and MVP replied, "Yeah, I'm effing gutted that this has happened as well." So yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand with the rumors that these guys all approached Vince and said,
of course,
we don't want this to happen.
Of course,
it's mad.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, there is talk of, obviously we know that the Hurt Business hasn't ended. There's only 2 of them now as opposed to 4. So the rumors have been going crazy about, maybe there's going to be more people added, maybe as early as WrestleMania, maybe afterwards. We've got someone in the comments, Jonesy, Chats Wrestling. Hi, Jonesy. He's asking the question as well. If you could pick anyone to join the Hurt Business, who would it be? Now, I'm going to give you firstly who I think will go in, but then also who I would want to go in. Okay. With logic as well, not just my favorite guys. To be fair, I think it kind of works both ways. For me, I'm seeing there's a possibility of Ricochet. Based on what happened about 2 weeks ago, I believe. Maybe Ali. That's a bit of a grab, a little bit of a grab. And then we've got Baron Corbin, who has obviously already, kind of shown a little bit of a, siding with Bobby Lashley already, obviously helping him attack Drew McIntyre. He had his match against him yesterday with a bit of an incentive. And I'm just like, okay, so with those 3, in terms of wrestlers and what they come with, what they can bring to the table, I wouldn't be too... I'd be okay with those 3 or a selection of those from those 3. But the problem comes with now that, unfortunately, and I don't care if this actually sounds bad, Hurt Business becomes multicultural.
So they move away from their roots, basically. Well,
it makes no sense to me. It would make it's like going backwards with the Nation, because the Nation kind of started out with you had Brian Adams and Skull and 8 Ball and those guys there, and then we got the Black, D'Lo and Mark Henry and The Rock and blah blah blah. Yeah, they threw in Owen Hart later on, but it was still very much Black faction. Yeah. Obviously, we know the Hurt Business isn't so Afrocentric in their appearance, in the way they carry on, in the way they approach, their incentives and all the rest of it. But we know that they are also very much unapologetically Black at the same time.
Yeah.
So for them to add Mustafa, I absolutely love that guy. Nothing against him whatsoever. I think for me, I would push that guy to the moon. But to add him and Baron Corbin. Forget about it. I like the guy. I do. But
I
for him
like
to be
Baron
part of
Corbin.
the business,
Yeah.
nah. But I don't know. Obviously, we've heard, there's always been rumors about Keith Lee and whatnot. But I don't. For me, it just doesn't work. Only simply because you've already got Lashley as the big guy. I think it's too much of a clash of similarities.
Yeah.
And you kind of almost expect one of them to turn against the other like straight away. So I don't know if that dynamic helps. But I don't know.
If I take some of the comments, Andrew, thanks for joining us today. He said it was a stupid move because now their ratings on Raw are gonna go down. Well, I don't think they can afford them to get any lower than they already are.
No, they are.
Jonesy went on to say that if it was up to me, he'd pick Keith Lee 100%. The rest would be up in the air. I guess Keith Lee's a name that's always been bandied around with the Hurt Business and stuff as well. FH, thanks for joining us, bro. He said, we all want Bobby to win. So is the only way to make it work Drew winning with a double turn? I just think they just want Drew. Like, I just think they want Drew. They're very
super surprised. I'd be super surprised if Bobby Lashley comes out as the champion. Even if it was down to some heel stuff and some kind of cheating and blah, I'd be very surprised to see Lashley leave as the champion.
Yeah, I'll be completely shocked, and I don't think it's happening. I mean, one kind of other name that I thought for this new iteration of the Hurt Business, if it's gonna happen right now, I'd rather it just stay MVP and
for a while. For a while.
Let's not overcomplicate things. But I did think last week. Samoa Joe wasn't on commentary. There was this bounty on his head. And for those that know, Samoa Joe has history of MVP and this whole gang stuff back in Impact in TNA. Exactly. So I thought we're literally waiting to the closing segment of this show because they just said Samoa Joe's unable to be with us on commentary. There was no other reason given. And MVP, funny enough, was kind of on commentary for the whole of last week's show. I thought Joe is gonna come out, put my man in the coquina clutch. He's gonna be Bobby Lashley's hired gun. Very much, if you guys remember back to when Triple H used Samoa Joe as his hired gun against Seth Rollins, I think it was. I thought that would be a perfect space for Joe.
You know what?
A great way to reintroduce him into the ring again. That is the only other real person I can think of that would probably slide right in and no questions asked.
You know what? As much as I'm not really here for the multicultural Hurt Business, I'd be absolutely gassed for Samoa Joe to be part of that group, bro. It would make a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah,
it would actually work so well. It would be crazy. Obviously, we've been seeing Joe in the suits, obviously, because he's been on commentary, so you already know what he would look like as well. Next to them and all that kind of stuff. As you said, there's history with MVP and Lashley as part of that whole Beatdown Clan thing as well, back in TNA a few years back.
And I'm pretty sure MVP even referenced it last night on the show. There was a time, I think Lashley was getting jumped, and then Samoa Joe said to MVP, "Aren't you gonna back it?" sort of thing. And MVP said, "Oh, don't you remember that time when me and you were out and this happened?" And he basically referenced they have a little bit of chemistry outside of the ring. So
you see this guy here, which way am I pointing? You see this guy here, he noticed these little things that so many people miss.
If this was AEW, I would 100% say it's Joe. I'll put my whole house on it. But WWE is probably over their head. But we'll see.
That is very true. That they do all these things, but yet miss. They miss it themselves. That's crazy. Whew, that would be mad. But it would work.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only person. Then again, we've mentioned before Naomi. Naomi's got a good opportunity at WrestleMania for the tag championships, the women's tag championships we'll talk about in a bit. But again, that's the only other kind of venture I can see them going off, putting a woman in, maybe getting Naomi to win the Raw Women's Championship. Yeah, other than that, it should probably just stay as Lashley and MVP.
We could talk about this forever, but let us get on to the topic of our week. The most important event in the wrestling calendar. Don't let anybody tell you any different, because they'll be lying to themselves as well as whoever they're telling, because it really is. Because while WrestleMania week is on, every other indie promotion wants to put on every show under the sun and, you know, gain from it. Great marketing, perfect thing to do. But let's not pretend. WWE is right at the top, and this is the most important event of the wrestling calendar every single year, and that is WrestleMania 37 this year.
Can I just say, yeah,
go for it.
I'm pretty sure I heard Cody say last week that someone asked Cody, maybe on Twitter or something like that. Someone asked Cody, "Oh, will you be doing any events to kind of run against WrestleMania or anything like that?" And he said, "No, that's their thing. It'll be cheap to run off the back of it." He said something along those lines, right? But someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure AEW are running a house show at the end of next week, maybe at the end of this week. Sorry, I think maybe Friday night, a house show in Florida. Does their first house show as well? Doesn't that count as piggybacking off WrestleMania or what? Like, please correct me if I'm incorrect, but I don't think I am.
Really?
They're running their first house show, I think, on Friday night. Obviously, it's not going to be a televised event. You've got to be there only. On Friday night, and Cody said last week that we're not piggybacking off WrestleMania. That would be cheap.
Of all the companies in the world that I would
Jacksonville, in Daly's place.
Of all the companies, wrestling companies in the world that should not, or I would frown upon them jumping on the back of WrestleMania, is AEW, possibly Impact. Everyone else, yeah, it makes sense. You know, you're a small company, you got to do even Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? Even New Japan, because they don't have a foothold necessarily in the US,
North America. So
that's what it is. But for AEW to do it, even with a house show, I'm sorry, but nah.
I'm pretty sure I'm correct. Like I said, anyone in the comments that knows otherwise, please correct me. But I'm pretty sure that's the case. But yeah, like you said, regardless of whoever wants to run an event that week, this is the biggest event of the wrestling calendar. No way you can deny that. So
I mean, I'm seeing some great shows coming from a few indie companies. They're looking absolutely amazing with some of the names that they've got on the cards and stuff. So keep doing your thing. It makes complete sense. But let's get into this crazy thing we do called predictions for wrestling events that are predetermined already.
Well, to be fair, with WWE, these guys probably don't know if they're winning till the minute they walk through the curtain and they get told. So
yeah, this is very, very true. This is very true. Sometimes they don't get told until they actually walk out. Sometimes even when they're actually in the ring is when they get told who's winning. So okay, let us look at let's try and do kind of almost in order of magnitude almost. You mentioned Naomi's got a match. I didn't realize this at all. I've kind of been out the loop, so I didn't really realize what's going on.
I believe it is Naomi and Lana. It's like a tag team turmoil match, basically.
Okay. As expected.
Basically a gauntlet match on night one. Naomi and Lana versus Natalia and Tamina versus Carmella and Billie Kay versus the Riot Squad versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. Whoever wins that match will progress to the following night, night two, to face the women's tag champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Okay. I hope it's the Riot Squad. I don't even need to think about it. I just hope it's the Riot Squad. Whether that happens or not is another thing altogether. I know a lot of people for the last few weeks, maybe even months, have been pulling for the Riot Squad to be in that women's tag team championship. Just in that space and being the number one contenders for that championship. So I'm right there with everyone else when I say Riot Squad for that one. And hopefully they also then go on to win as well. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have actually kind of, grown into that championship, holding those tag team championships with Reginald as their little mascot, stroke manager, stroke Nia's love interest, stroke friend, stroke. I don't, just whatever he can find himself to do. But it works even down to what they do outside of the ring. The little TikTok stuff that they're doing has been quite entertaining. Even Shayna getting involved, and that's very entertaining, to be honest. So yeah. We'll see what happens with that one. I don't necessarily see anything with Naomi, unfortunately.
To be fair, I mean, I did. So Priv TV has asked here who's winning the girls' turmoil match. So I did think that maybe Lana and Naomi would get a win. This company is very invested in Lana and everything she does, especially on the socials. So it wouldn't go amiss if you know she won and then done something big on socials, and all of a sudden they got
right to push night 2, of course.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, Carmella and Billie Kay have been like, it's the oddball team that's just been added. So surely they just added them for a reason. Maybe they're the ones that are gonna, you know, kick on and progress. So yeah, I think it's definitely out of Carmella and Billie Kay. If not them, maybe Lana and Naomi. But Riot Squad would be who I would want to win 100%.
Quick question, actually. Is Bailey doing anything for WrestleMania?
Nothing announced.
No Bailey.
I think it's an absolute crime. This woman had the 2020 of her life. So a lot of things that I've seen, people saying that, you know, we're just not privy as to what's going on with Bailey right now.
Right.
I don't know whether that's an injury, personal matter, or anything that. Illness. Hopefully she's all right.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping she just does Bailey and turns up on the night and does something. Right. Maybe she interrupts old Terry doing the hosting or something.
Something like that would actually be decent, to be honest.
Yeah, they have this woman is SmackDown, longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Like, they can't just leave her out of the biggest show.
You know, and you know what's crazy? Just the simple fact that I'm asking about Bailey. Like a year ago, I wouldn't even bother to think about it. You just know how amazingly she's progressed in the last 12 months. Yeah, man, I wouldn't have even bothered asking about Bailey. I wouldn't have cared at all. But I think, right now, she's almost a must. In the same way that we were saying about the hosting thing, it probably should have been her or Billie Kay, or, you know, because 100%. Of the entertainment that they come with right now. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next match. That being, I would say, the Raw Tag Team Championship match with the New Day against AJ Styles and Omos. I'm still trying to find sense in it, but you know, it's here. It's almost his big debut. I think it's gonna. I've got a feeling, if I'm honest, actually, and I thought this morning. I've got a feeling Omos is gonna surprise us in the same way Shaq did at AEW.
I want him to.
Exactly. That.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Someone said on Twitter yesterday they've seen a footage of him doing Hurricane Runners in the performance. So I don't know. I doubt that's the truth, but no, honestly, I think. Yeah, this could be very interesting. You know, this could be AJ Styles ultimately wrestling a handicap match and maybe tagging in Omos for a quick win. Right. Or Omos could be ready to kind of surprise us all, like you say. If we get a Shaq-esque performance, he does the basics all right.
Yeah.
Comes across well, then that would be
enough. Of course, I think that's kind of like the most we can actually expect. To be honest, I just hope it's not the whole, you know, stiff big man type of thing, like a Great Khali type of. You know what I mean?
I don't want to see that.
Just the one slap, and that's all he does in the big boot. That's it. Like, I don't want to see none of that. And I already do know, he has more than just that in his arsenal as well. Based on some footage that I've seen back when NXT was still doing house shows, when he made his debut in NXT. On the house shows and stuff that he did on a couple of those. So I know that there's more to him than just the stiff big man thing. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they pull that off. In terms of who I see winning, I kind of don't care, but I just don't know. I think that's what it is. I don't know, but because I don't know, I'm just like,
I don't care either.
Whatever.
No, I
Whatever,
100% back that sentiment. I think obviously with Xavier Woods winning pinning AJ Styles this past week on Raw, I think that's the New Day's win right there.
Right.
AJ Styles and almost they're not gonna insert this guy into his first WrestleMania match if he's not gonna win. Like, look at the size of him, look how they've built him up for the last few months.
Right.
He's just gonna do like a knockout punch or something and pin someone and win. I mean, I think I was saying earlier today, a choke slam like finisher would be lovely. We don't see a choke slam no more from a big man. Like,
right.
Just let's just give almost some dimension to his character,
Let's
to
do
his
that
performance.
for sure.
Most likely they're gonna win, so let him do it in style at least.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I read something just the other day about I think Triple H mentioned something in an interview that he had, and AJ Styles was on his case for a good few weeks, good few months. To see if they could have their match at Mania, Triple H versus AJ Styles. So it's interesting to see it now be AJ Styles and the New Day. I don't know whether that's AJ Styles' decision, whether how he sees it and all the rest of it. Not to put a downer on the New Day. Obviously, they have the magnitude that they have and their great tag team history and stuff. But going from Triple H to the New Day, in many people's eyes, is a bit of a downgrade. And especially with it the way it's going on as well, it's a bit weird. But at the end of the day, I'm here for Omos. I'm here to see what Omos gets to do. And I believe if the win happens for Omos and AJ Styles, I'm hoping it becomes a resurgence of AJ Styles as well. Yeah,
he has been a bit just on the fence, not doing much. I would have preferred all these guys to. I would have preferred it to be Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania, just a straight up singles match. And I would have I think we all thought at one stage we were going to get Ali versus Kofi Kingston. And that would have been good. But yeah, exactly. They just dropped it. With everything else, they just dropped it.
What happened to that? Oh my word.
That's what it should have been. But we're here. Wow. It's just like AJ Styles and Omos are going to win the tag championships in this non-existing tag division on Raw. So what they go on to do afterwards, you probably have 3 or 4 rematches with the New Day, and then God knows who's going to challenge them next. I don't even know. So.
Speaking of tag teams, what's happening with the SmackDown Tag Team Championship? What's happening there?
It's on the WrestleMania edition of SmackDown this Friday. So they're not having a pre-show because they pre-show matches at WrestleMania because they want to start WrestleMania with a bang. Most likely Drew versus Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I believe that's gonna happen.
Obviously, this is the first WrestleMania in front of crowds or first live event in front of crowds for a year or so. So they don't want to dilly-dally. They just want to go straight in with a banger. So everything that should be pre-show, it makes sense. Everything that should be pre-show is basically on SmackDown. Okay.
And is that definitely gonna be just all SmackDown, or is it gonna be a mixture of?
I think it's all on SmackDown. So the Andre the Giant Battle Royals on SmackDown. The Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Championships is SmackDown, obviously.
Okay. That involves the Street Profits as well, right?
Street Profits, the champions Ziggler and Rude versus Mysterio and his son, who you're probably gonna win. And then Otis and Gable.
Basically, all 4 tag teams on SmackDown.
The whole division. The whole division in one match. Like, I don't mind it. They've been doing some good work. They've been trying to make it look like it's a serious thing in the last couple of weeks. So.
All 4 teams have been doing decent stuff, and it's not easy as much as you say. It's looking like Ray and his son. I think you could slap the championships on any one of those teams, and it would be okay. It would be okay.
The only thing is, if it is Ray and his son, why wouldn't they give them that moment at WrestleMania? That's the first WWE
SmackDown Tag Team Championship, bro. No one cares.
Yeah, but that's the first father-son pairing that would win it. If they are going to do that, like that's a WrestleMania moment, no?
That is very, very true. They'll probably still play as a WrestleMania moment because it's on the WrestleMania.
WrestleMania edition of SmackDown.
Yeah. The third night. You know what I mean? The unofficial third night.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. Moving our attentions then to Big E and Apollo. Now, bro, what is a Nigerian drum match, bro?
Listen, I think people are asking me because I'm Nigerian. People are asking me because I'm Nigerian, as if this happens every week in the village or something like that. Meet me by the water fountain. We are going to have a Nigerian drum match. My bro, I have no idea what the heck this is.
Oh my gosh.
Even when I was watching this promo, and it always happens to me. As soon as something stupid happens, my missus walks in the room and Apollo Crews is doing his accent. And he says, Biggie, I'm challenging you to a Nigerian drum match. Missus
I'm going to beat you like a drum.
She looked at me and was like, what's that? She actually said, are they serious? What's this? And then I said, I don't know. I really don't know. And I can only imagine they're going to get, very big African drums, put it around the ring. It's a no disqualification match. But yeah, they're calling it a Nigerian drum match. God bless Apollo Crews.
You know what? To be fair, bro, I'm gonna say it. To be fair, it's a good thing. It's not Kofi Kingston with his Jamaican gimmick back in the day, because it would have been a Jamaican steel drum match.
Literally, steel pan match. Yeah, it's crazy.
My word, bro.
What do you think happens here, though? Because a lot of people are already complaining that this has gone on for longer than it should have.
It definitely has.
Does Apollo win?
He has. Surely he has to. Which
he has to, right?
At the same time, isn't it doesn't make sense for Big E to not continue to be Intercontinental Champion.
Exactly.
It also doesn't make sense for him to beat Apollo 3 times in a row, then lose the 4th one. But it makes even less sense for Apollo to lose for a 4th time. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Fastlane was the night that whole thing just died.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that Fastlane match, there'd still be something to fight for, I guess. You know what I mean? To look forward to. Adding Nigerian drums does not make a difference to me. It does not add any incentive for me to say, yes, let's see this. I mean, I do want to see it just to see how ridiculous it ends up being. I don't know what it's going to be. It's intriguing in that respect. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know, man. I think it's a little bit, I think it's a little bit detrimental to Big E as well. It's detrimental to both of them in every way, shape, and form you can think of. It really is. Mm-hmm. It has become this just overly gimmicked Apollo Crews. And you know what? About 2 weeks ago, I was like, I can kind of get with this. Yeah. But now that you've done this Nigerian drum thing, I mentioned the Great Khali earlier in the show. When I heard the Nigerian drum, I'm thinking, are we doing Khali and his bamboo cage? Punjabi prison, that's what it was called. That was a pointless thing as well. It just felt very overly not even stereotypical, but just
I get you mean.
Trying too hard. You're just trying too hard. It's just absolutely pointless, and I don't get it. And it's unfortunate. I just want to see a good match between the two of them, and they had that at Fastlane. Apart from that, very weird ending.
Yeah,
but
like you're saying, Apollo Crews has to win at this point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like we've done already, on this show, we compared him with Carmella. After you brought back Carmella, repackaged her, she lost 2, 3, 4 times straight to Sasha Banks, and Carmella's hardly on TV no more.
Right.
That can't afford to happen to Apollo Crews. He has to win here. We will all be happy if he wins, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll give us a great match. But then we're in the midst of what you guys called a Big E push.
Mm-hmm.
And the issue here from the jump really is, why is Big E effectively trying to elevate someone when he's not there himself? The likes of I was about to name Nakamura. One could name Nakamura, Rollins, Daniel Bryan. These are the kind of people that maybe Big E should be beating to help elevate himself. So when he loses the IC title, eventually we already see him as a main event guy, sort of thing. But right now, he's thankfully doing a job for Apollo Crews, but it's not really helping him get any further.
Not in
our minds, at least.
Not in the slightest.
This has went on for too long. They've booked themselves into a corner. It's just a mess. High Flyer has said here in the comments, imagine if the ring mat is a drum. I don't put it past WWE, you know, because you've been seeing how Strowman running around the ring and they got choo-choo sounds and everything. Like they can make that every time you take a step. Boom, 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 boom. Who knows?
Like a drum in every corner. You have to bang your opponent's head on the drum.
Literally, it's something mad like that. Jonesy Chats Wrestling says the drum match is basically a no DQ match. Yeah. Andrew says Apollo is winning that match and the IC title. I love the gimmick, man. I'm African too, from Ghana. Big up him for embarrassing his culture. Oi, Andrew. Oi, Andrew. Andrew wants to start Ghana versus Nigeria right here live on the stream. I ain't gonna let you do it, bro. Watch yourself, yeah? High Flyer, in a bit, boys. Loved it. You boys, great to watch. Thanks for joining us, bro.
Yeah, man. We'll
catch up after Mania. But yeah, man, it's a bit difficult where this is all gonna go, to be honest.
It is. The other difficult one, and not necessarily know where it's going. Then again, I guess every single one of them, you just don't know. But we're moving on to, you know what? Let's go. I was gonna go to the ladies, but let's leave them till last. Let's go to Lashley and Drew. We're expecting this now to kick off WrestleMania. So night one, Drew McIntyre has mentioned it in more than one interview that he's done in the last week or so. He would love to, be in that first match, to get, the crowd hyped, get that reaction, all that kind of stuff, get the biggest reaction you can possibly get from the night. So we've already talked about this. We've already said, we just know it's got to be Drew that comes out on top of this one. Is there going to be anything in the match that will be, a standout moment, something to remember? Or are we just going to have almost like a 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute match? 15 minutes is going to be too long. 10-minute match. Just as he keeps saying, he beat Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes.
This is going to be at least, it's going to be a slog, I would like to think. Like at least a 10 to 15-minute slog. Very hard hitting, as Drew has been doing the past couple of weeks on Raw. We more or less already know the result. It'll be very interesting to see how they manage the hurt lock. If he manages to get the hurt lock in Drew and Drew manages to get out of it or something like that, obviously that would be quite different. We haven't seen anything like that. Drew's obviously tapped to the hurt lock previously and stuff. So that's going to be very interesting to how they manage it. Obviously, we've already spoken at length around just how they've managed the whole Hurt Business situation. Just looking into the future a bit, even if Drew wins, who's next for him? In terms of heels on Raw, you're looking at Bobby Lashley, like a top-level heel. You're looking at Bobby Lashley. Maybe Sheamus.
He's already done Sheamus in.
He's already done Sheamus. I mean, at least they can do it this time for the WWE Championship, but I wouldn't expect Sheamus to win. The list isn't long.
And this is why I'm saying, like, the resurgence of AJ Styles may be important.
AJ could feel a kind of heel role. He faced AJ when he was champion in December for the TLC match.
That's true. That's true.
There isn't no one like in the shape of brand new competitors for Drew McIntyre. Maybe unless we get a return in Samoa Joe. But apart from that, in terms of top level heels,
there's not many. There's no one believable that can, believably beat Drew and then go on to have a significant run. Unless Bobby gets it back.
Yeah, maybe Jonesy's thrown out Braun here. Braun also did say he would be interested.
Very true. Very true. The only other person, actually.
I want Braun to come back to prominence, but
Yeah.
he ain't gonna beat Drew McIntyre, after a month holding the title. If we're all, true to ourselves. Harley has said the same thing here. Thanks for joining us, Harley. Strowman could, I guess. Yeah, you're right. Strowman's he's a good name.
Yeah,
to
I guess he's the only one.
But yeah, he's not gonna win it quickly off Drew. You see what I mean? Like
thinking,
no one really, but
thinking after night one, we'll have that match. Let's think. Do you think there's going to be anything that could happen in terms of the WWE Championship specifically on the next night on Raw?
What, you think he could lose it straight away?
I don't know. I'm asking the question. Do you think there's anything that could happen significantly? Now that doesn't necessarily mean he's losing it, but I mean just someone that comes out of the woodworks to challenge him. Is there?
I wouldn't mind Karrion Kross. Like Karrion Kross, I've always thought this is a main roster guy. Like, if he does, if Finn retains,
main roster straight away.
Yeah, if Finn retains, and then you just hear that sinister music, and Karrion Kross comes out for Drew McIntyre, what a way to make a star. Yeah, I don't really know who else is there. I mean, they could do something completely butters, like switching Baron Corbin from SmackDown to Raw and let him come chase it or something. But
nah.
Yeah, Karrion Kross might be the most exciting option. Keith Lee, a returning Keith Lee.
A returning Keith Lee, maybe, but he's not winning for definitely not winning. But so that would be okay. That would be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned Karrion Kross, and obviously then there's Finn Balor. It's possible whoever loses that match could show themselves, because even with Finn coming back would make sense as well.
Yeah,
it would be enough time. He's been in NXT long enough now. He's reestablished himself. He's been there. I don't think he's got much left to do.
It's interesting you say Finn. Did you see the story? Obviously, Andrade's left. And Andrade said that he wasn't meant to win the NXT title. That the only reason that he won it was because they didn't want Drew McIntyre going up against Adam Cole, because Adam Cole was too small.
Yeah.
And Andrade, I guess, was in between size. So it'll be interesting to see if they have... Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if they put Drew up against Finn, because I guess that size issue is still there. But yeah, they have rebuilt Finn to the point where I would like him to kind of go back into something like that. So
interesting. But yeah, we know that the prediction for us is Drew's coming out of it as the champion, 3-time WWE champion in 13 months. Did you say? More or less 12.
More or less.
Yeah, it's a year. Yeah, more or less 12 months. I don't hate Drew in the slightest.
Not at all.
Absolutely love him, but it's just so incorrect. It's just so incorrect on Bobby Lashley and just the whole Hurt Business story and all the rest of it. So that's going to be interesting to see what then happens to Bobby afterwards and what he does then from then on. Hopefully he stays within the picture, within that title picture, but who knows? It's WWE at the end of the day. Who knows?
Andrew squashed the beef in the comments, by the way. He said he meant embracing his culture, not embarrassing his culture. All right, Andrew, I'm gonna let you slide this time.
Okay. Got out of that one. Good. Well done. Moving on to what I have dubbed very many weeks ago, even before it became official, as the most important wrestling match in cultural history. We have two females, two black females going for the SmackDown Women's Championship in Bianca Belair, who won the Women's Royal Rumble match, and of course the unstoppable and incomparable Sasha Banks, who is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Yes, it is the most important match in history for many of us, but the build has been
wah, wah, wah.
Oh no.
Exactly.
Unfortunately for us, the build has been. It's almost like they've just forgotten about him. It's like they've just forgotten about him, just doing whatever they're doing, just coasting as long as possible. And what's been weird, and as much as it's been different, and I like different, but it still doesn't make complete sense. Is this they're now kind of enemies now, and they're at loggerheads, I guess. But Sasha attacks Bianca. Bianca just gives her this. Okay.
Bianca's behaving like she's under some type of stipulation. Like if you attack Sasha before the match,
Right.
then the match is off. Bro, what the hell is this? This is WrestleMania, mate. This is for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And Bianca has always been an aggressive person, even if she's a face.
Yeah.
She's always been like, I'm coming after you.
Right.
What is all of this? This kind of laid back demeanor.
The only thing that is going to make any sense to me, and I said this about 3 weeks ago, I think, the only thing that's going to make any sense to me is if Bianca literally flips on Friday. It's going to be the only thing that's going to, like, the last gasp effort to make sense of this whole thing. And even then, in general, I don't think it's going to be enough. But at the same time, it's the last thing that they have for us to really, as a story, for us to be like, this is it. Now this is important. Now they see it just as important as we want to see it. But at the same time, even in saying it like that, as I just did, don't see it happening. Don't see it happening at all, which is hella frustrating. Because both women absolutely amazing at what they do. And this should have been, again, the biggest match, maybe even for the whole weekend. Mm-hmm. And I know that is to us, but at the same time, there is still, it's not like we're looking at it through rose-tinted glasses or melanated glasses. Because, it's Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Mm-hmm. Like they've built Sasha Banks in this way in the last few months, or let's be very real. Probably even Sasha Banks herself has built herself in this way that she's just an absolute star. It's undoubtable. If you say otherwise, you're lying to yourself. And then we've got Bianca Belair, who only started wrestling literally 5 years ago and has come so far so quickly, again in in an undoubtable way to the point where we wanted her to be a big champion 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now she's won the Royal Rumble. So it's set. She's now a main eventer. But yet we're still kind of not knowing what to do with them. And we've got, how many days? 5?
We've got Friday, because that's the only other show they're on. Friday. We've got Friday. And then they're wrestling on Saturday.
The day before.
Yeah, that's all we have. Probably a 10-minute segment on Friday.
When Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble at the end of January. And we're now still waiting the night before for you to give us substance to this whole thing.
I lost my head the other day on SmackDown. I think it was last week, Friday. Bianca Belair just won a match. Sasha Banks came out of nowhere. Yep. Went to give her another backstabber, which she gave her the week before. Mm-hmm. She wrestled out of it and then just looked at her.
Yeah. It's that.
I said, bro, what is this? I said, what is this? And I'll take some comments quickly. Batman 901, he said, I will be okay if Bianca doesn't win at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Priv TV, God bless Bianca and Sasha, but the build for this match has been wretched. Why were they tag partners for 2 months after Bianca won the Rumble? God bless you, Priv, because that is the whole issue here. Very lackluster. Jonesy Chats Wrestling, I want Bianca, but I want to see this feud continue after WrestleMania.
Okay.
I think if this is going to be main event in terms of going on last, Bianca Belair wins because first Mania back in front of fans. They wanted to send everyone home happy, big moment,
Very true.
etc.
Very
Bianca
true.
Belair wins, and it'll be a fantastic story. The match is going to be very good, and
Yep.
that is, we know we're gonna get that.
Yep.
It's just everything they've given us before this match. They can put the title on Bianca, and for the next couple months on SmackDown, Sasha Banks really becomes the boss and gives her a wretched time holding that title and makes her almost regret holding the title, taking her title from her. Obviously, Bianca Belair has also had previous with Bayley back in about December times, so that's another challenger. Will Sasha Banks lose at WrestleMania for a 6th time in a row? No WrestleMania wins in her career. That's something, they may want to address this WrestleMania. Who knows?
True. That is true. What's interesting, I saw something a few days ago that The Rock never won a championship match at Mania. So when he's gone in as champion, he never won.
He never retained, basically.
Yeah.
I think Sasha's gone into matches not as champion, but come out not as champion. But yeah, last or 35, she went in as tag champions. I lost that.
Obviously lost. Yeah.
The rest of them, I think she was in championship matches, but didn't go in as champion and didn't win.
There was a women's championship match that Charlotte won. She was in that.
Yeah, and that was the first one that she was in. 32.
Yeah.
Last year, she was in a 4-way, and Bayley went in as champion and won, I think, retained. So, yeah, I mean, whatever way you want to look at it, it's 5-0, and that's no win.
Yeah.
Like I said, Sasha's been on a complete train this past year. They are pretty much readdressing everything they messed up with her in years previous. This, her winning may also be
the final.
That might be the final image we're left with, which some people may boo. Especially, I would like to hope if she wins, I would hope she does something completely dastardly in that match to win, to beat Bianca.
Yeah,
like let this be something that
need to happen.
Yeah, so we know it's going to continue, and that really cements her as the heel here, and there's no more lovey-dovey between these lot. Because right now, Bianca Belair is just behaving like she's, stars in her eyes, like, oh, it's Sasha Banks, sort of thing. So yeah, I think either way, and they can have the ending to WrestleMania all nice the night after when maybe Edge or Daniel Bryan wins the championship. But yeah, this is very hard to call this one where it's gonna go. But I think just for the share fact,
is a good thing.
No,
it's a very good thing. But unfortunately,
the story's not there to back it.
Yeah. As you said, you mentioned, it would be great as a WrestleMania moment, as a ending to night one for Bianca Belair to be holding that championship. But it's almost like you've not given us enough for us to I don't know. It's almost like that moment has already been killed.
Yeah, basically.
I'm sure we'll all revel in it and all be very happy about it if it does go that way. I'm sure, but you've just not. The build has just been, it's just been a mess.
I've just got a tweet from the big man himself, Brian H. Waters. Everyone, make sure you're watching Wrestling Realm. Thanks for joining us, Brian. He says, "Yeah, I agree with WrestleManiac and Black Wrestling Alliance. Sasha needs to do something dastardly en route to winning at WrestleMania." I think, that's the only way that I think everyone can let this whole mess up of a build slide. We know it's going to continue from there.
Right. It would have to then continue.
Jonesy just says, before we wrap up, I think this is a fair comment to end on, to be honest. I struggle to comprehend how WWE could not book this feud the right way. It was the easiest match to book on the whole card. Yeah.
And on that note,
100%, bro. 100.
Oh my word! I mean, to be honest, you know what? On that note, let's call it a day, because again, it's another one of those things where we can carry on talking about this, and we'll be repeating ourselves a lot, but it's difficult, man. All in all, I must say, I said a few weeks ago, I'm not excited about WrestleMania. I am, because it's WrestleMania. Yeah, but I'm kind of just still forcing myself to.
No story has been brilliant going into this WrestleMania.
Nah.
But for the sheer fact, this is the first time these lot are going to have wrestled in front of fans for a year. These guys are performers. Remember, at the core of everything they do, they're performers.
Yep.
And the minute you give a performer a crowd, they are going all the way up. Like, honestly, I'm expecting to see some absolute madness over the weekend because these lot are going to want to, you know, their drug is the crowd. Their drug is the fans. So
for sure,
I think despite everything in terms of the build and how lackluster it's been across everything, everyone look forward, and I hope everyone enjoys WrestleMania because I think it's really going to be good.
I'm still expecting good matches from all the matches that we mentioned. I'm still expecting good performances from everyone, if I'm honest. So,
100.
you know, let's see how that works out, and hopefully on the night, as they say in the showbiz world, everything will be all right on the night.
That's right.
On that note, folks, this has been WrstlXtra, the WrestleMania preview edition. You can follow Mex on WrestleManiac.uk on Instagram and WrestleManiac UK on Twitter. I will be back on Instagram in the next day or two. Yeah, we'll see. No, I'll be back. It's WrestleMania week. I'll be back on Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram. Seeing as it's WrestleMania week, you might just follow me on Twitter as well. You might.
We'll on.
Yeah, we'll see. Folks, you are watching on YouTube right now, and you are also listening on AffinityExtra.com. We are out, and let's have a great WrestleMania weekend.